This is Majin, and here's some comic reviews for you. We have World's End, Deathlock, Fantastic Four, Nova, and Guardians. Okay, let's start with World's End. I really enjoyed this issue. It's mostly a preparing issue where they're getting battle lines drawn, they're getting groups of people ready for combat. And, I thought the art was great. They're making like Jimmy the Messiah type person. And I think that overall things are really starting to take shape. If anything, there was enough in this issue to make me want to read the next one and want me to see this big combat. They're implying people are going to die, which is highly possible since they've already killed off people anyways for Earth 2. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I just hope that they can keep this momentum going, and this will be a really strong series, kind of like an Injustice, maybe, hopefully, perhaps. But anyways, I think if anything, what makes it attractive to me is in a way you get to see what a world of superheroes would really go through if there was this invasion from Apocalypse, because we never get this with the New 52 type heroes or the old DC world. So I'm really glad we were able to see something like that. Okay, let's look at Deathlock #1. This is, to me, was just okay. What we have here is a story where you have a guy who thinks he works with Doctors Without Borders, but in truth, he sees trigger words, and he suddenly becomes Deathlock the assassin, who always, kills his target. And to me, I really do strongly believe that this was an ill-conceived storyline that was rushed because they needed to do something because of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel TV and all this other stuff. This book is not original. It's really kind of just blah. The action is subpar, and there's really no redeeming value to it. At the very end, the secret shadow team is patting themselves on the back saying, "We have the perfect assassin." And I'm like, no, you don't. The perfect assassin is not a father who, thinks he's a doctor, doing noble causes by day. And, you flash some words in front of him and becomes an assassin. Okay, granted, he's controllable to a point, but eventually that old life, his other side, is going to creep into things. He's going to see something that's going to trigger, hey, that's my daughter. Or his daughter's going to figure things out, because his daughter's not stupid. She's already figuring out that there's something not right because he's got blood on his clothes. There's already this rift between them because he's like, hey, can I take you to school? And she's like, no, I can figure it out. I've been doing it for so long by myself anyways. How is that the perfect assassin who can't manage his home life? Eventually these two paths are going to cross. Surprise, surprise. And guess what? He's going to be eventually free from this shadow organization, and he'll be Deathlock full time without this part. And then maybe he'll even go join S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers or, something silly like that. But regardless, the story has been seen a million times before. People have done this better, and this is just a complete and utter waste of time, utter waste of money. And if anything, this really would have been the bad book of the week, but Axis Revelations was far worse than this. That's the sad thing. Oh, what a complete and utter waste of talent. Anyways, Fantastic Four. Now, I'm not going to really spend a lot of time with this one. This is basically the heroes figuring out there is something going on. Now, what I did want to talk about is, what I was really surprised on is they're actually bringing in a very old storyline. And you might want to go back to Heroes Reborn, that to give you a clue as to what could be potentially going on with this. And that it's starting to really pique my interest. And I really want to know what's going on with this. I really like the concept of the Fantastic Four disassembled, but what is starting to interest me more is the way they're doing it. They're not doing it like the way the Avengers did it, where everything was just total crash and burn. This is, okay, they crashed, they burned, but you know what? They figured things out, and they're going to get out of this. And I really enjoyed this issue overall. Again, though, this is not probably something that a lot of people are just going to jump on, but I think depending upon how this ends, this might, I'm thinking this might be definitely tradable, but we'll see. Okay, Nova number 22. All right, this is basically, okay, this is what we call in the anime world as filler. What basically is going on is Nova gets a text or a call from somebody from the X-Men Academy, and then they think he's Speedball, and he basically goes trick-or-treating with the X-Men students, and they do good. And this is what we like to call filler. It's that feel-good issue where, Nova does something good, and, he bonds with other heroes his age, and, he's building those strong relationships, la-di-la-di-la-di-la. Overall, is this something that's great? Really? I'm not 12, so this is the type of book that you just kind of buy, so this way you don't have that a hole in your collection type thing. But it's okay. All right, Guardians of the Galaxy number 20. What happens to Richard Rider? What happened? How did Star-Lord, how did Drax escape? Is all answered in this issue. And I really enjoyed this issue, despite the fact they have one flaw in their story. Basically, what's going on is this. If you remember, if any one of these guys dies, they immediately come back. And Nova lost his arm, and he's bleeding out. And they're trying to basically save his life. But I'm like, just let him die because he'll just come back, Let him get blasted by the Cosmic Cube. And no biggie. Besides that point, because I know they're probably going to say, well, he's got the Nova Force and, he might lose that energy and blah, blah, blah. Well, so let's forget about that part for a second. What part I really enjoyed was Thanos being the punching bag still, because it's kind of like the heroes, like the villains, they're like, okay, well, if these guys keep coming back, let's test it. They want to test it on Star-Lord, but they escape, and then they just keep beating up on Thanos. And eventually, Thanos ain't taking that crap for too long. So I thought that what happens after that was great. The keep away with the cube, the fighting, the action, all of the storyline after that was great. I really enjoyed this issue. I think people are going to have some concerns and gripes about the Nova part of the story, but one thing you have to remember is, with all things that are comic books, if somebody dies, is sent to another dimension, is encased in carbonite, they all come back. Wolverine, mark my words, Wolverine's coming. Okay, let's look back. Spider-Man got killed, quote unquote, came back. Captain America got shot, came back. Bucky came back. Superman came back. Batman had his back broken, came back. So Phoenix is the poster child of coming back. So will Rich Rider be back? Yeah, eventually. The minute they need him for a storyline, they will bring him back. If Johnny Storm could come back, Nova is going to come back at some point in time. Wolverine is going to come back. Right now, they're already advertising. People are battling over his body that's encased in adamantium. So I'm like, all right, so let me get this straight. Wolverine is encased in adamantium. That means his body can't really decay. It's not going to be hitting with all, the elements that are going to be able to eat away at his body. And, it's not like there's going to be maggots suddenly forming inside the adamantium to, eat him up from the inside till there's nothing left. He's completely encased. So eventually what's going to happen is, somebody's going to want that DNA bad enough. They're going to somehow figure out a way to remove the adamantium from the body. And then once they do that, crack it open, then watch. His healing power is suddenly going to kick into high gear. He's going to regenerate. The claws are going to pop. And then there's going to be hell to pay. It's just a matter of when. And, it's all going to be tied to the movie. I mean, hell, they already have Wolverines comic series set up for previews in this month. So, please, it's a done deal. He's coming back. You know, you don't keep that trademark going for that long. So, they're not going to lose it. Anyways, that was my rant for death, I guess. So, anyways, overall, I mean, the books I got were pretty decent. I mean, even Batman Eternal wasn't too bad, and Future's End wasn't too bad. Just not... Future's End just wasn't review-worthy. That's the only problem. Anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Let me know what you guys picked up. What books were you liking the most? What that you were reading? We'll have some more videos later. Like, share, and until next time.